Hey guys, what's going on? What's going down? Red Rocks, Cliffjumper 1984, the alcoholic Autobot with that ever so beautiful natty ice. Another video response to the Happy Console Gamers, your favorite video game controller. Yeah, I just want to give another what's up to Robman and Johnny. They started off in the 8-bit, so of course that's where I'm going to start off with. Yes, the Nintendo regular NES controller. Back in the day when I was a lot younger, it felt a lot better in my hands, but these edges, kind of, when you're really going hardcore in the NES, they really dig in a lot. It's just not something I prefer anymore at my age. It's alright. What's nice about it's pretty sturdy, you know. You can probably try and break that shit, and it's not going to snap. As far as the Master System pad goes, it's actually slightly bit lighter, but like they were talking about the pause buttons on the console, which isn't so nice. But the D-pad, you've got those 4 extra, basically, movements around it, where you've got 4 on the NES, and you've got about 8 on here. That's really a nice addition. Ooh, we better hit on to some 16-bit. The Sega Genesis, yeah, the first model, it only had the 3 buttons. It wasn't so bad. I was not a happy owner of it early because I did not get to own my own Genesis until probably last September, actually. It definitely fits nice in the hand. I think it feels a little flat on, like, underneath here. It just feels like, you know, up top I feel like I've got nice control, but underneath I feel like I have to hold a little too hard on the controller to keep it firmly in my hand, kinda. I mean, it depends on what games you're playing. It also lacks a select button, which I guess in Sega Genesis time you didn't really need one when you can use the D-pad to move your options, you know, for instead of a select button. It's not a big deal. And of course you have the Super Nintendo controller. And again, I think it feels a little bit more undefined on the bottom. It feels more solid because it's more of a flat surface. It does not contour. It doesn't have the contour towards your hand as the Sega Genesis controller does, but it definitely works a little better when you're toggling up here. The way it holds very nicely on the cusp of your hands like this. I think that gives you a lot more control if there's so many games where you got to use the left and right toggles. When they were talking about the Super Famicom with the colored buttons versus this, you know, purple and pastel purple, I definitely prefer that. Even though I've never held one myself in real life, I can see why I would prefer that one over one of these. Ugh. And, like, I can't disagree more with them what they said about the Saturn controller. Yes, this is the United States release. It definitely was a bigger improvement on the Genesis. I think it's only because of the flanges down here at the bottom, how it sits cusp in your hand so much better, makes it feel more stable. Even though it does get thinner, down in between here, it just, the cusp sits in your hand so much better. And especially when you go for the reaches on the upper 3 buttons, and the toggles, the way it's contoured with the toggles up top here, it feels so much better. This is by far, I think, the best Sega controller, definitely. I just, for as much as I love the Saturn, I just wish there was so much more better games that was out for it. With the 32-bit consoles, we're going to move right along to the PS1. Oh, damn. Look at that. When they were talking about how the directional pad, you didn't think that was going to work out so well. I totally felt that at the same, but it's very responsive. And basically the way the keys are laid out here, these buttons, they're very well placed, I guess. There's no crazy reach you got to do with thumbs, of course, for the way the controller's designed. I mean, when you're right up, when you got the fingers I do, it's easy to reach all these buttons. And there's really no strain on the controller to go anywhere. I think that's my biggest happiness about it. I don't have to flow every way to get a button. I definitely hit every spot that you would need to without much effort. And then when they were saying about when there's one controller that doesn't fail, hook it up. That's the PS2 controller. I'm sick of unwinding these fucking cords right now. Yeah, it's definitely on my top, but it's not my favorite controller. I really must say, but damn good, damn fucking good. For the N64 controller, yeah, everyone else has done the Rumble Pack. I might have that third-party memory card in it, but yeah, it was a little top-heavy, but it was definitely revolutionary for the time. But when you put all this junk on, it's just like, oh my gosh. There's so many different ways you can hold it depending on which game you're playing. And it definitely was the predecessor of what would become really the GameCube controller. I don't know, the buttons, like, definitely, it's just weird for the A button to be blue. These could have been a little bit bigger, but that's really only the only gripe besides with all the add-ons I have about it. The Rumble Pack needing batteries, I can understand that, I guess, but what PlayStation can do in their controller without batteries, that's a little sad thing. Oh. Raise your beers, I want to say RIP to my Jaguar. Yes, I had a Jaguar a few years ago. I actually used to take it and play it at work. I was a manager at this place, and I'd had a couple times were a little down. I hooked it up to the TV, and the power cord eventually went bad. And this is before I started dealing on eBay. And I wish I had the physical copy of the controller in my hand. I can't believe I threw it out like 5.5, 6 years ago. It's really sad. But everybody knew, like, that was probably one of the worst controllers you'll ever fucking find on a system. God damn! Do we really even need to talk about this piece of shit? Oh my god, Robman was so right when he was talking about it looked like Samus's ship. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I don't even know why the fuck I have an Xbox. I don't play the goddamn thing. It's... Fuck that. I will definitely say this was a big improvement on the 360. It definitely feels very good in your hands. It's very balanced. The cusp and cut out of the way your hands fit in is very nice. The button layout, you really can't ask for too much of a better controller. It's a decent all-round game, but I just feel like this... Jesus Christ, what do you want to say? This just feels a little bit on the loose side to me, this toggle right here. It's not the best. I just don't feel like I have the utmost control around it, but other than that, it's not a bad controller. The only way you really get adapted to this controller is you fucking play some Smash Brothers. This controller is the grounds of the fighting genre to me in the GameCube, of course. Smash Brothers really whoops ass in this, but there's also the Capcom vs. SNK, I think it is, on the GameCube that works very well with this, I must say, that a lot of people I don't think bring up. Why is this controller so awesome in my mind? The button functionality. The way that you have all of these buttons, they work in such different ways that I don't think the whole controller was used to its function. From this toggle over here, the directional pattern, and this other toggle over here, all three of them are different. The way they feel in your hands and the way they can be used. I mean, this retracts, but it also has sensitivity to it. The back, rear, shoulder buttons also have a 3 steps of sensitivity to it, I should say. And I definitely think the A and B button ratio is done very nicely, except, especially with A being green and red being B, you think, go, stop, cancel, yes, no, oh shit. I definitely think this is a very, very fucking good controller. I I don't see why this isn't one of the best controllers. Yes, the Wii mode is the last one because it's the last console I actually own currently right now. Of course, it was different what they were talking about. You play with it this way, but it was nice. It also has dual functionality to it. You can play with the virtual console like this, but also the add-on peripherals they didn't really, talk about. Of course, you have the nunchuck that plugs right in that you can use. But it also plugged into other things like the Link's crossbow gun and the Nerf thing with the tennis racket and the golf club. I know they're dumb little plastic things, but it's just more than a controller that way. I guess maybe that does bounce the guidelines of this video a little bit, but with the functionality of it, I think being more than just a controller makes it a better controller in some ways. And then what about the classic controller? This thing definitely feels nice in my hands. The way it's very cupped and eggshell in the back, it sits so more comfortably and it's not awkward to hold in any situations where it doesn't actually stress the hand out either. With me being a drummer and working on cars, my hands tend to get pretty sore doing 12 hours a day when I just want to get a non-stress free gaming session along with a non-hurtful gaming session. And with the conclusion of this video, I would actually say it's a tie. And if you don't know, of course I'm a Nintendo head if you've never seen any of my other stuff before. But with the GameCube controller and the Wiimote with all this other stuff, these are my favorite controllers of all time. And that's just my opinion. I appreciate the views. Hey, if you like what you see, check something out. Click that like button below and subscribe. Hey, keep doing what you gotta do. Drink one on me.